Very good afternoon, guys. Today I'm going to discuss about dollar scope and dollar root scope. So the difference between these two is dollar root scope basically available for all the controllers. That means it's accessible globally. But when it comes to a dollar scope, it will access only a specific controller and its members of a child. So we'll discuss with an example. This is my controller. So I'm going to define two controllers basically is a red color controller and green color controller. So here if I define a scope object for this controller, scope object for this controller, then this will be available only for this controller. But if you provide as a this property, root scope property, color property, to a root scope object, so root scope object will be accessible for all the controllers. Okay. That means the root scope object accessible all the controllers, but the only scope object will access only a specific controller. So we have the controllers. Now we have to define a view. So see the output is something like this. I want to get the output something like this. So I define two divs, one div for red color controller and another div for green color controller. So red color controller, I'm going to define the properties like a root scope color will be accessible in both controllers, is a red color controller and green color controllers. But red color controller property, red color property is accessible only this controller because it's defined only the under dollar scope. But this red color cannot be accessible here. So that's the reason I'm going to define one span. We are going to display one message, something like if red color is undefined, that means undefined. If equal to undefined, that means this is not accessible under the green color controller. So if this is true, that means we have to show this red color is undefined. Similarly, green color is defined only for green color controller. So green color is undefined under this controller. So if this condition is true, then I'm going to display as a green color is undefined. So this is my output. So let's go to the application. Suppose this is my existing application. Go to custom script. I'm going to add two controllers. Just add these two. So I define this red color controller and define one more controller as a green color controller. I define a root scope object. This can be accessible, the root scope object property accessible all the controllers, but a specific property attached to the scope object is only available only this controller, and similarly this green color is available only for this controller because we attach to the dollar scope. But if you attach to a root scope, root scope is available, it is available for all the controllers. Okay. So I define a controller functions, and let's create a HTML page. Add HTML. I can say diff between scope and root scope. So here I'm going to add the references of AngularJS. So in order to speed up the things, I will copy from here, like ng-app is nothing but getting from the script folder. Demo is coming from the custom scripts. This is nothing but a module. And similarly, we have to add all the scripts. Is a predefined Angular scripts, and this is the script which we define for our project, and we're accessing that controllers. So just add this. You can add till this. So now we can add the specific requirement something like this. Just copy this and just paste here. So here I'm getting some error. Unknown element diff cannot be placed here. Some that means something like a special character is added here to replace with that. Control F and replace with the special character. Sorry, replace with this empty space. So I able to resolve the errors. Here I define a controller, red color controller. I define one more controller as a green color controller. I have defined two divs, and I define a root scope color is accessible for both, and red color is accessible only for this red color controller, and but green color controller access only for green color controller. So we cannot access this red color controller here, so it's undefined if you're trying to access it. So just I want to display some message, something red color is undefined. So if this condition is true, that means we have to show it. So ng show. And similarly, green color cannot be accessible in the red color controller because it's attached to a scope object. So this is undefined. Green color controller is undefined. So if this is true, that means if we have to show this message as a green color is undefined. So let's run the application and set as a start page. So now I am able to see the red color is having width, green color is undefined, and green color uh, but in green color control I don't get the red color property. So in red color controller I cannot access the green color property because it's attached to only scope object, but when coming to the red green color controller I cannot access the red color property. So this is red color is undefined, but I can access the root scope object in all the controllers. Thank you.